Durvile Publications and UpRoute Books presents an interview with Denise Clarke, author of The Big Secret Book, an intense guide for creating performance theater. Denise is director of the One Yellow Rabbit Summer Lab Intensive and recipient of the Order of Canada.
I wrote the book because I had spent 20 years with my great colleagues, Blake Brooker and Chris Cran and John Morrell and Ronnie Burkett, thinking about the ways that our methodologies at One Yellow Rabbit are available to other people, and if there was a way that we could incorporate our research and our training into a source. And so I decided, you know, maybe if I try to get it all down on paper, that source would exist in the world. Well, the book is about what happens at the lab from the minute you walk in the door, pretty much till the time you leave us. And so I talk about the body and the player, the person in the room who has invested in themselves and come to make their own lab within our greater lab. And I try to give them exact physical practice notions that they could incorporate into developing their own personal practice, which I think is really the key. It has to be an individual practice geared and designed by yourself. And then, you know, I try to give a lot of pointers about how we at One Yellow Rabbit have incorporated that kind of information into the work that we do and how it applies directly to the stage. I go on in the book to talk about Chris Cran, a great Canadian artist, and his work and how it has influenced us at One Yellow Rabbit. And I always talk about his influence at the lab as a kind of palette freshener, something for the artists to think in another way with their creative brain, certainly through the scope and the lens that Chris uses as a visual artist in his very extensive and long practice. And again, try to give you examples of how we've applied that and how Chris has helped us out at One Yellow Rabbit when he's designed shows. And then working into Blake Brooker's methodologies, which are really a defining center of One Yellow Rabbit's work in general. And certainly what he has given to the lab has been a very generous opening of his chest, his war chest, so to speak, and all his tricks and tools of the trade, and tried to make them very available in more practical terms as a director and a writer and a creator of text in the world. And so once again, then you're reading the ways that we have incorporated those, and also trying to always throughout the book suggest little ways to practice on your own, to apply what I'm talking about and maybe give it a little exercise of some sort. The sidebars in the book, boy, they're extensive. I try to cover a lot of the work right from the very early days up until more recent work. And, you know, Falstaff's Last Hour, John Morrell play, Kawasaki Exit, one of Blake's true masterpieces, my own work, Sign Language and WAG, doing Leonard Cohen, a seminal work for the ensemble that really helped launch us into a very specific way of incorporating our physicality into our text design, Sylvia Plath Must Not Die, boy, the list goes on.
The Big Secret Book is available in bookstores, through indigo.ca and Amazon. Published by UpRoute Books and Media, an imprint of Durvile Publications.